Are we alive?
Are we alive?
Pete, you done with AI? AI? No more AI, Pete. Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
They killed him. Wasn't even close.
Making with AI, you can put Milan on top of the table.
We are there, Mike.
It's not too realistic. It's not that
That's
realistic.
too realistic.
Right?
What are you talking about? We are almost.
Almost, yeah.
We just showed Antonio how AI works. At first, he hated it, and then we started putting some videos of Milan players things that he likes, and all of a sudden, it's your favorite thing.
Within seconds, Anto has completely turned
Make me
around.
one with Cassano. It will be nice.
You have a real video with Cassano. You don't
I
need
know,
it. You
but
don't
this
need
time
AI.
here, this time I want to.
Maybe you could be juggling the ball
wanna
with him,
do
because you
kiss
can't
him.
juggle in real life.
And then Cassano is going to say to me, he's going to say, wow, Anto, you're the best player I ever seen. Something like that.
Jeez.
That's
Then
how you know
they'll know it's
fake.
AI.
That's how you know it's
They'll
fake.
know.
I can juggle the ball like Cassano with like that, sitting on the chair.
Guys,
Five soccer ball.
I have a quote that is not AI. It is real. This is Cesc Fabregas after he absolutely killed Lazio. 3-0. Could have even been more. Serie A is definitely the hardest league to win games in. I'm enjoying Italian football. It's improving a lot, and it will continue to improve. We aren't that far away from the Premier League, even though from a money and marketing perspective, they're ahead. What's your reaction, Pete?
I agree. But we've been saying this for a while. I think this year, it's even more evident now with the Fabregas, with a Como coming up and being this surprise team and competing at a good level. Even if they lose versus a Milan, you saw they have a dominating performance no matter what. They're going to keep to what they know, right? Then you have an Inter, Milan, Juve. The history of Serie A is always been top, right? And there's no comparison. And we've just been kind of behind when it came to the marketing and the TV deal and everything else that comes around because of, I think, it's money, Antonio, but it's also the fact that when you're on top, you can never be complacent. Because the time that you're on top, that's when you got to work just as hard because people are going to come after you. And Serie A has failed time after time because they allowed everyone else to catch them up and surpass them. And then even when it comes to, we've said it all the time, the government and the stadium situations, it's a joke. In Italy, there's always some complication that takes 10 years, or then they have to scrap this plan, and now by the time the stadium is approved, those plans are 10 years old, and you should be able to do something else, because ultimately, especially in architecture, Antonio knows, 5 years is a long time.
So we agree on that, and it's good that you set the stage. But he's talking about right now. He's talking about the football. And I will say I think Premier League is still the number one league in the world because you do factor in everything. Like the spectacle, it's incredible the way that you watch a Premier League game. But I will say Serie A is so freaking competitive from top to bottom. Like our bottom teams, even though Pisa is at the bottom of the table, these freaking guys in their day, they can compete and they could do a really great job against you. It's not an easy game. You never know when you turn on a Serie A match what's going to happen. Cagliari beating Juventus, for example, you got to work. The details really matter. And now some people will argue and say, oh, it's because the teams are not that good. But that's not true. For me, it's not true. And the stats freaks speak for themselves. Yes, we have not won Champions Leagues, but we're always very competitive. Our teams go far in the Europa League, Conference League. If the UEFA makes an aggregate of the last 5 years, the coefficient points, Italy is second. So just to say that it's not that far away, it's not like an insurmountable distance. So for me, I love that it comes from Fabregas. I love that it comes from an outside person who's not Italian, who hasn't been in the league as long, but he could see the way things are. And he even quoted in there, when I go up against Pisacane and Cagliari, when I go up against Carlos Cuesta, he learned from Arteta. Every freaking game is difficult. What's your guys' reaction to it? And do you agree with Fabregas?
I mean, for my standpoint, we've heard this countless amount of times from goal scorers and saying how hard it is to score. Non-Italians that are new to the league.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, I mean, I remember us just tweeting so many times. I felt like a broken record, all the tweets that we tweeted about and saying how much harder than they expected it to be. And it is very hard, and I feel like it's gotten even tougher over the years. So I definitely agree with him. It's been said so many times. It's not something that I think could be disproven.
Is it the hardest league?
Listen, it is. I can tell you why, because you can see week in and week out. You see AC Milan and Inter taking almost 75 minutes to break down Lecce. You see Verona having a good game. You see the Cremonese that beats AC Milan at the first of the Campionato. You see all of those small teams. You see Cagliari. You see Pisa. I mean, those are all the young coaches too that you say, this guy here, what is he gonna do? It comes down to the point that you have to really fight very hard. Especially teams like AC Milan. We having the most difficult time breaking down the defense, the low block of those small teams. So that tells you nothing is easy in Serie A. Serie A to me is the most difficult league for a defensive standpoint of view.
You know what I learned too? What I've seen the difference be is teams have a lot more courage these days. Like those teams that are coached by, you mentioned Gilardino, Davide, they just have courage. They really believe that they could find a way to hurt you no matter what. And I think a couple of years ago, sometimes the smaller teams, they'd play against the big dogs and, they would write it off. Or, okay, today's going to be really difficult. Not to say that we don't have to improve. Peter, you prefaced the conversation in the beginning perfectly. This is not to say that, we're happy. No, absolutely not. We have so many things to improve. But I just think the gap of where people who don't watch Serie A is compared to where it actually is a lot closer than people think. That's my point.
And I would also add, there's foreign investment now that's, taking place. And so teams like a Cagliari is now owned by a sports group that's American, Italian-American. You have Pisa, who's owned by an American. So, these are all ownership groups that they probably are not spending as much just because of, financial fair play. And obviously you don't want to have a bad business structure or business model and spend all your money and then risk failure or bankruptcy. But these teams now, when they do identify a player, they can go and spend a few bucks, where in the past, a lot of the, let's say, provincial teams were always owned by the local businessman, not the average businessman, but obviously was very, very tight with his books and would never be able to splash a few dollars. So hopefully if Serie A is able to really, do well when it comes to the stadium, in terms of a TV deal, you'll have, these American or whatever international investors that have capital behind them. And once they start seeing some money, some revenue coming in, would be probably happy to spend some.
Talking
some
about
dollars.
American, we have to just say that something very, very, very sad has happened to the Serie A. We have lost Rocco from Fiorentina, and this is one of those American investors that not only made Fiorentina, brought Fiorentina at the level that we know, and even though right now they're not navigating in very clear water, they're just a little bit at the bottom of the table, but Rocco is a perfect example of the people that they came to Italy and they showcases imprenditorship, imprenditoria, we say in Italian, and then attachment to the team, the passion for the game, the spending the money for the young generation into the Viola Park. This is really, it is sad from one side, but I hope that Commisso Rocco becomes the example for the rest of the people investing money into the Italian championship, to say, hey, it's not about making money, because very few people they make money in soccer, but you have to just have the passion, and you have to just look at the young generation and just do something for them coming up.
So, yeah, Antonio, we did have to start with Rocco's passing. We got a lot of messages because we've mentioned the relationship that we had with Rocco. We remember before Fiorentina was even an idea, and you did sum it up extremely well. I think he was one of those last presidents and owners that he put his heart into it more than just balancing books, which I think sometimes is something that people hold up against American ownerships. He loved it. He loved the game. He was a person that wore his heart on his sleeve. He lived the Italian-American dream. I gave a tribute on CBS to him, and I would echo a lot of what I said. To come to this country at 12 years old from Calabria as a poor immigrant and to become a self-made billionaire, which he says he started in his basement. Billionaire is something incredible. The only thing, the real bitterness to this is that it didn't last long enough. It feels so wrong that it's only since 2019 he was able to start this journey of love, this journey of what he wanted to create for the next generations. And you mentioned Viola Park. When he put Viola Park, which he put his own money on, a lot of money, he said, it's for the kids. I want the kids, the boys and girls, to have a future, a proper place to play. So we send all of our condolences to the Commisso family. We're going to be at the funeral tomorrow. We'll be there in attendance. And I know Rocco's no longer with us. He's met Joe up there. I'm sure they're going to build something really special up there together. Heaven's got two big hitters waiting for them. So it's sad, but at the same time, I think we're going to be talking about him a lot and remembering him for all the foundations that he did build.
For sure. And like Marco said, we did work closely with him. And if there's one thing, remember we did the parade, Fifth Avenue. And he's just like such a stand-up guy. He always wants to give everything. And he's one that... He's a dreamer. When he put something, when he put his mind to something, he really achieved it. And he was always for the people. He was never one to back down. And you've seen it. He had so much criticism in Italy. And what he's done as the Fiorentina owner, like, it's going to be remembered forever. Building this, the previous coaches, not just for previous owners, not just for Fiorentina, but all these owners would try to save the buck or try to profit. He would always just put out his money. He doesn't care that he lost money, which he did. He just wanted the fans, the city, to be something proud of. And I think he's done that with Fiorentina. He's done that with the Cosmos, and just everywhere he's been. He's built such a cult following. And I think if there's one thing that we can remember from him is he's just an incredible person, and he wouldn't be this far that he's been in life if he wasn't. And we hope our hearts go out to him and his family, and hopefully he'll be remembered for a very, very long time, because he was such an incredible guy.
Yeah. No, and I would even say, what he was able to do in this small amount of time with the Fiorentina. Viola Park is second to none in Italy and maybe in the world, in terms of, what it took to build it, and how quickly he built it as well, which, a lot of people can talk, but then, others that they move and they do it. And a lot goes also to Joe, right? Mm-hmm. That helped him build that and build that dream. And more importantly, I go back to, I was watching, Rocco was on 60 Minutes, and he was mentioning, because it's funny how things kind of go full circle, but, soccer was what got him to Columbia University, got him great education to then go on and build, what he built with MediaCom. So it's crazy how now, you fast forward so many years, you go buy an Italian soccer team that's historic, right, such as a Fiorentina, and try to give the same opportunities, maybe pass it along, right? Ultimately, we're here for a short time, and we always want to try to make the person next to you better. And I think that's something that he did. And even in his conferences, his press conferences, in Italy, we know the journalists and everyone could give him a hard time, but he was someone that when he wanted something, he kind of resembled the old school owners of Berlusconi, Moratti, and guys that were passionate first and foremost about the game. And
let me just say, Marco, something is so important, because, I have my phone with the AC Milan logo on top. Rocco was this close to buy AC Milan. Oh, my God. For me, it's double sad, because I said, imagine if Rocco would have bought AC Milan. AC Milan, we probably could have maybe a couple more titles. Just looking at the passion of somebody like Rocco, investing the money on the game, not on making money. I'm not spending money to try to make a profit. The guy, he went all the way out. And, now we're going back to the stadium. If it wasn't for all the restriction that Florence had for the stadium that Pierluigi Nervi, who is one of the greatest architects of the world, not of Italy, he designed, Rocco would have probably built a brand new stadium, state of the art. Mm-hmm. And we knew that was the main intention. He had a lot of time in dealing with the municipalities, with the city of Florence, with the La Regione Toscana. It is what it is. It's not just the only place where you have tough time. In Italy, the bureaucracy, it's to the extreme. It's over here, you get things done a lot faster. That's why it was a lot more frustrating for an imprenditore like Rocco to go over there and face all of those obstacles that they did nothing for to slow him down. Imagine if this bureaucracy was not there, what it would have done even a lot more than what we already have in front of us.
Yeah, I don't want to focus on the negatives just because it's not the time to, but that is the the disappointment I think that we all feel, because if things were the right way, the way that Italy should be, to tie back to the conversation before, they would have the state. They would have been way ahead. But unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way. But it was beautiful to see the tribute that they got, and it's beautiful that Fiorentina got their first away win of the season. It's amazing that you can't really put your finger sometimes on certain things, but you could just see the difference. Like, those players were playing for Rocco. Mondragora scores a goal. He holds up the jersey, says Rocco, the number 5, which is the number that he wore at Columbia University as well. There was no way they were going to do anything but win that match. They had to. And what Rocco would want is Fiorentina to be safe in Serie A. And I think I'm starting to see the right things from Fiorentina. The character-wise, tactically, Vanoli has changed things in the right way. The new signings that have come in, I think, are making a really good impact. Some of the guys who were not ready to fight with them, goodbye. You're not with us. You're against us. I think they're making more sense. The last thing I guess he did was get Paratici in to at least give a vision and invest a long-term contract in a proper sporting direction. So it was beautiful for me to see. I'm really liking Fagioli in the midfield. I think that he's growing. Can give away some balls that it's a little bit frustrating at times, but it's great to see him even without Moiskin as well. So it was a really great job.
Next subject. Let's go to something less.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about Inter.
Oh, wow.
I thought you didn't want to be sad.
Inter is not. It's not that happy.
I think you're pretty happy.
Why am I not happy?
I think you're in an amazing moment right now.
They're winning 1-0 against Lecce. Just a scrappy
Udinese.
game.
Udinese.
Excuse me, Udinese.
Lautaro scored. Pio Esposito. How good is Pio Esposito?
Oh, he's very good. I think he still needs. He needs to know when to be aggressive and kind of be selfish at times. But in terms of his technical ability, he's already 10 times Correa, Arnautovic, and Taremi put together.
10 times?
Yes.
Oh, my.
Okay, because he sees the game in a different way. You can tell his technical ability is very high, but also in trying to lay off, right? And whether he's playing with Thuram, Boni, or Lautaro, he has an effect on the game, which is good. And again, he's still young. We can't get too crazy about him, but he's a striker that, if he can, start finding the back of the net a couple more times, then he's someone that's very scary and could be a striker of, Italy's past, in the sense when we have great strikers. And I don't want to seem, blasphemous, but like Christian Vieri had that type of body type, was maybe a little less technical in some of his abilities. But with all that being said, I think this kid has a bright future, and it's great to see Inter giving the chance to the kid to actually play.
His work rate is what impresses me. I mean, he wants to fight and he wants to run. He's not a lazy player at all. And I think for a 20-year-old, sometimes you could get ahead of yourself. I haven't seen that. I see him put his head down. The assist, he's got a great connection with Lautaro Martinez. He's always the one that's providing him with the assist. The hold-up play is phenomenal. And I think this does show you the difference that Inter has compared to Milan, Napoli, Juventus, Roma, whoever. Yeah, those are the only other teams that I would put in that category as competition. Their backup strikers are better than most of the strikers that any of these teams have. So Kivu did a fantastic job over the summer to say, we don't need to go out there and spend money on a backup striker. We have it in-house. He worked with him. Kivu said, I've grown up with this kid. I remember him when he was a kid because Kivu coached a youth team. So it's also a level of satisfaction, I think, for Kivu to be the one to be in his ear. And that's one thing that Kivu has brought to this team.
All right, let's take a quick break from the podcast to talk about our sponsor, Mike. They know it already. Lotto is sponsoring us until the World Cup, which Italy, we're going to be there in the end. We're still maintaining the faith. And the good news is they have a new collection that just dropped. They're sick sweatpants. They're sick quarter zips. I absolutely love them. Lottosport.com. Shop the new collection. Mike, I love wearing this every single day.
Dude, they got the cozy fits out now. Now with this, especially in New York, it's been snowing on and off.
Been brutal, yeah.
So guys, head up on that side. I know there's a lot, especially up north in Canada. It's freezing over there. The quarter zips, not only going to keep you stylish, but you're gonna look sick in them.
There's like a weird trend online too about quarter zips, right? Have you seen that on
Yeah, I
TikTok?
did, yeah.
Like hit my TikTok algorithms for
There
some
we go.
reason.
It's
But
working.
Lotto is back. I'm seeing everybody talk about him, post about him all over my Instagram feed. I was just on a special trip with them, which is gonna come out very soon. A special
No sneak
video.
peeks, nothing.
I don't
Can
think I'm
say that?
allowed to say that much, but let's just say there's some huge people that are involved in this, and it's amazing because Lotto is a company that I grew up with. It's a company that since I was a child, it represented calcio, represented soccer, represented football. It was the history. It's what some of the best players that I idolized growing up wore. Went away for a little bit, but it's really cool to see them come back, and it's really cool that they're supporting us. So if you want to support IFTV, support Lotto. They're with us. Check out lottosport.com. The new collection is fire. Or you could go to Dick's Sporting Goods in store or online and check it out there.
And we have all the links in the description. Go check it out. Follow them on social media. And back to the show.
Every week I feel like I keep praising Kivu even more, and there's just another facet to be like, wow, Kivu is such a young coach, and yet he's doing everything right. It's insane. Not just what he does on the field or off the field. He's bringing in these youth players that, you know, on top of everything else, that a lot of these coaches, it's almost like pulling teeth to bring in the youth players and incorporate them. And I think he was doing a fantastic job playing them, giving him enough time, giving him confidence. And you can see not just Esposito, but everybody else just playing, and they want to play for Kivu. He seems like such a good guy. He doesn't throw anybody under the bus, and he keeps racking up wins. And we keep asking, maybe is it this week that he's gonna be a little bump in the road? But he, at least for me, he keeps proving me, maybe not wrong. I didn't expect Inter to be doing so well so quickly under Kivu, but I think he's gonna be one to watch within the next season or so. Kivu's going to be on the radar of a lot of players. Inter's going to have to ward off a lot of other teams because I think Kivu is going to turn into a monster of a coach.
I think you brought up good points, Mike. And I think, listen, with Kivu too, he's someone that knows the environment, knows Inter. He was an Inter player, and ultimately, you might have people calling about him, reaching out about him, but I don't see him moving anywhere. He's in the right position right now. And, I want to bring up a couple of things because, sometimes there's so many games we forget about a lot of stuff. So this season, right, Inter is coming off of a 5-0 loss, right, to PSG.
Did you know
in
that?
the final. I know Antonio.
I don't know if Antonio
remembers. He probably remembers every minute that PSG scored. But, okay, you're coming off a 5-0 loss. You're coming off, and he was already the coach during this Club World Cup, where Lautaro comes onto the speaker and says, we don't want players that are not giving 100%.
Jeez, I forgot
blah,
about
blah,
that.
blah, blah. So imagine that for Kivu that has had 12 games to have to deal with these personalities. But then, as Marco alludes to all the time, you listen to his press conferences, you listen to how the guy speaks, and you realize right away that although he might be a young coach, he is far beyond his years when it comes to understanding, wise beyond the years and understanding the player personalities and how to kind of maybe manage this locker room. I think he's brought joy to a lot of the players, right, in terms of how they're playing. Even certain comments, I remember Mkhitaryan saying, like, Kivu allows us to go in and foul the player, go and get the yellow card, not be afraid of getting the second yellow card or being subbed out right away because of a yellow card. So all these little things have, shown and reflected well with this Inter team, and I think even in his management of the players' minutes, everyone's kind of fresh because he's been moving guys. Zielinski was an afterthought for all Inter fans, and we were surprised maybe that this guy couldn't find the field. And meanwhile, he's probably one of the better midfielders this year, probably the best midfielder for Inter this year. Even a Fratesi, for example, that you think he's out of everything, now these recent games has gotten minutes. So he's kept everyone honest, I think. And, we're in first place. One thing I would say is he's got to do better with the head-to-head.
That's the big but.
He needs to be able to win games. And Because if you look at all the games, I know Marco thinks Napoli played better than Inter, but I think the first half Inter played a really good game, and it was a kind of a tale of two halves. And there, he needed to change something. He needed to realize how to win, or that 2-1. You gotta hold on to it with everything that you got. So these little things, I think, along the way, he'll pick up. I just hope that he picks up, within the season.
Or today when people are listening against Arsenal.
Yeah, versus Arsenal now.
Okay.
Like, we don't
I don't know
have
if
to.
that's how it works.
We don't need to dominate possession. We need the 1-0 result, like Inzaghi did in the past in the Champions
You
League.
beat Arsenal last
and
year 1-0.
And get into the final 8, because we don't need the extra games in
All right,
Champions
Mike,
League.
it's funny you were skeptical about Kivu a few weeks ago. No, you kind of changing a little bit. Yeah,
Anto,
but-
can I tell you one thing? Sorry, not to cut you off,
Yeah.
but it's okay to change your opinion.
No,
it
it's
shows
all right.
it
No,
shows
no.
growth, and it shows that things change, and you could accept that you have new data, new information.
hold this
You don't have to
grudge.
be stubborn and think just the way that you thought in August that you have to think that now.
For me,
We were all proven wrong about Kivu.
My opinion has not changed. I'll tell you the reasons
funny.
why.
Aldo's the only one that's not
I'll
wrong
tell you
ever.
the-
Never.
When I'm right, I'm right. When I'm wrong, I'm right. So here's the deal. Kivu, like Peter said, he has to show me that he's doing what we are saying that he has done right now with the small team. He has to do it with the big guns. Do it with AC Milan, do it with Juventus, do it with Napoli.
You wanted to do it against AC Milan?
No, I said show me.
He has to show it, yeah.
Before
Show me
we
the
can
money.
put Kivu on the next level, he has to show it, because those direct matches is gonna just he's gonna just in Italiano we say devono scrivere la storia dell'Inter. I think this is not ready yet, but maybe next year, because this is the year that AC Milan is gonna do it.
Ooh,
You've been saying it since August, so it's nothing new here.
Well,
I like that.
I
like that he just said it.
we have a coach that is not panicking, is not taking baits, is not really responding to all of those, harassment or all of those, innuendos and this and that.
We understand
The
the point.
cortomuso, Marco said the cortomuso. We don't do cortomuso.
No, 1-0, 1-0.
Listen, 1-0. But if you see the number and the quality of the chances that
Oh,
AC
wow.
Milan has,
You're losing us. You
finish,
started
Anto.
well.
please.
You
come
started
on,
well,
eh?
but
Come
we
on.
got-
let's not
we
say
got
it's beautiful.
Captain American over there. Now we got full crew. Just be careful. We got full
Captain
crew.
Germany.
Can you,
We are on our way to
Huckleberry Finn. That's a,
what? We are on our way
Huckleberry
to win on the field in the number 20 to get the second star.
So I feel like I do agree with Antonio, and I'm sort of split between two minds. I thought Napoli would win coming into this league, and things are going against them with the injuries and the amount of points. And I do feel like at this point, Milan is the best competitor to stop Inter. There's one side of me that I watch Inter and I watch how they breeze through some of these smaller games, and you have the level of depth in the bench that it's gonna be able to get you to the point. And people look at the points gap at the top, but then I also see it from a positive angle that Milan are only 3 points behind because Lau has not been fully fit. Pulisic has been dealing with his injuries. You didn't have a center forward. Allegri was still new with the team. Yeah, you messed up in the smaller games, but if you can improve in that, 3 points is nothing. It proved last year that the 3-point gap is very little, in my opinion, they need to have, because we do expect Inter to go far in the Champions League, and that is where Allegri and Milan can be extremely smart and just wait. 3 points you could 100% make up, and then they have those direct battles. So I wouldn't put it against Milan. I just want to see Milan. The thing with Milan and Allegri, you got the job done this weekend against Lecce. I think he was happy because you guys stayed calm even at 0-0. The thing that he keeps preaching is at 0-0, guys, don't force it. Don't go too much because then you allow Lecce to try to score. He says eventually the quality will come. He doesn't really have a style of play. If you listen to what Allegri has always said, they asked him one time, what's your style of play? He goes, do you ask Real Madrid what your style of play is? Real Madrid, nobody talks about style of play. They talk about great players. So he thinks if you have better players and you're calm and you're smart defensively, you will win the game. And it proved to be true. I just think against the smaller teams, you could change formations. You could push a little bit more. You don't always need Fofana in the midfield who's gonna bring you win a lot of balls. Against Inter, against Napoli, against Juventus, okay, I understand. But in these smaller matches, I think you can find a way to go to a 4-3-3 or just put a little bit more quality up front. That's my one thing. But you do have a coach like Allegri that he is so experienced in this field that I don't think it's crazy what you're saying, and I could see Milan winning the Scudetto.
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy, and it's also this and next month is gonna be the month where they catch up and hope that Inter drop some points due to the Champions League. That's where Milan got to take advantage. And Allegri, he's a classic Serie A coach. He knows what he has to do. One game a week, and he just paces everybody, fresher legs. So it's gonna be a telling tale for Allegri and also for Kivu on the other side, talking about we got to criticize him also, not just saying the positive stuff. Of if he could manage those competitions in the front, him being a newer coach and someone like Allegri.
That's a good point.
Tell.
I would like to hear Peter's opinion. Do you think Kivu will have learned from last year where Inzaghi tried to grab it all? He tried to grab everything and then he came away with nothing in his hand. Do you think he'll make that calculation because he is in his first year and nobody expects him to go far to the final again in Champions League, let's say. Do you think he'll make that calculation?
I mean, listen, the thing is with Champions League, there's too much money on the line. And you're Inter, you cannot take a game off in Champions League. You cannot say, we're just going to go after Serie A. Once you make it past a certain stage, that's a lot of money. To a certain extent, and I'm sure fans don't want to hear it, you rather get into a final in Champions League and lose than win a Scudetto when it comes to monetary reasons.
Would you say that? Would you agree with that statement this year for Inter? If I gave you that scenario,
no, I wouldn't. I'm saying in terms of
I'm not saying to lose, but I'm saying
go for all of them.
You guarantee to win a 21st Scudetto, or you could play your part in a Champions League final. Which one would you choose, Peter, as an Inter fan?
The triplete.
No, I would like the Scudetto. I would like the Scudetto because
so against what you just said.
Wait a moment.
I didn't say
Akanji
no.
also.
I said as a team, as an organization, financially, it's better to get into the later stages of Champions League.
You can't lose a third final.
Listen.
Take chances.
How about for Peter?
Go to the final.
I just said I would go for the Scudetto because in the
said
end,
it,
silverware is what's going to define Kivu's thing. No one expects you to win a Champions
But
League.
Marco,
Maybe I'm the only
fine.
person that doesn't fault Inzaghi for trying to win it all. I
don't-
mean, yeah, he got the
He was
worst.
not wrong, but
He
we
got the
We
worst.
didn't fault him.
No, but a lot of people also look at it like, what did he win? Dude, cut him some slack. He tried to win it all, and it happens at the end of the day.
Listen, in the end of the day,
You got to
the
give him
game-
credit for trying to
they
do
lo-
it. Meanwhile, you should play coach like Sarri or whatever,
Yeah,
or other
that's
coaches
right.
that bow out of other competitions so
Inter
they can look better on
lost.
paper.
Inter lost because they did not go after a number 9, a substitute number 9 in January. That's why Inter lost.
Come on, Peter,
because
that's not the
it's been
reasons.
2 years.
No.
It's been 2 years, 3 years that we have no strikers off the bench. That's the reality, and that's why they went out. They got Pio and they went after Boni.
But you got
That has
pulverized
been
by PSG.
No, hold
Forget
on.
about
No,
Lotto.
PSG. I'm not
You're
talking about
saying Scudetto.
PSG. I'm talking about Scudetto.
Scudetto.
Lazio. Arnautovic missed the
pulverized.
ball in front of the. If we had the strike Boni and Pio last year, Lautaro rest, Thuram rest. There's a lot more opportunities for the strikers to go the long distance and be
very fair
effective.
I like how you thought about it
It's
for a
different.
second. You
So
took a pause.
that's the reality. Winning Inzaghi, I mean, I know your savior Antonio Cassano doesn't like him. He thinks he lost a lot of Scudetti, which could also be true. But in
It
terms
is the
of
truth. It's the fact.
and I'm saying it could also be true. But in terms of how Inter has played, there has not been a better team in Italy. Maybe even in Europe. Maybe 2, 3 teams that play better than Inter. And Kivu has been able to do what he's doing thanks to Inzaghi. And
I agree with that.
His ability right now to manage the guys, and these guys kind of playing on memoria, right? It's a memory. They know already what they're doing. You make slight adjustments. You just need to make sure the locker room is ready, the guys are healthy, and you're able to continue. And making when you have to win those head-to-head games, make it count. When it comes to Milan, okay, Allegri knows what he's doing. He's probably, as terms of coach, is the most likely to win the Scudetto.
Oh, I appreciate that, Pete. I appreciate it.
Don't touch his
It's
hand.
not crazy at all.
Listen, okay.
That's
listen.
the reality.
It's very
That's
possible.
why. That's why
I
Allegri.
want to go back to what Marco said before to you. I said, where do you draw the line? You go for the final? I said, first of all, I like to know from you what kind of decision you make and how do you make that kind of decision. What do? You go in the locker room and you have a little meeting and
No,
say, hey, guys,
I'm asking Peter as a fan. I want to know a
as
fan's
a fan.
Yeah, just a fan's
But
perspective.
don't you think on the higher level, the people, they sit down, they say, hey, guys, what should we do? Should we just keep some of our best player and then...
Personally, what I think is going to happen,
Yeah.
I think that they will get to a certain point, and Kiva's going to say, it's his first year. If I could win a Scudetto, and they would have the path to win the Scudetto. Like, for example, let's say, don't want to jinx it, but let's say Inter go out right away in the Champions League right now, and they only have to focus on Serie A, Inter will win the Scudetto. And I think that they could get to that point, and Kiva's going to say, it's better to win something that's sure. But then he's also a guy that won the treble. He's also the guy, so maybe he's not going to make these calculations. I don't know.
he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna
I
do
think
it.
there's too much money,
Yeah.
Okay.
and there's
Money
too much
talks.
money.
It's going to be a demand at that point.
And
for
listen,
him.
Good.
and
It's a good thing.
yeah, it's
a good thing.
you cannot refuse that, because ultimately that's what's going to give you the next year's transfer window.
Milan refused
We've
it.
been we're waiting for a
Not
full,
by choice.
we're waiting for a fullback.
Wait.
We're waiting for a fullback. Who are we going after? Joao Cancelo. Now we're talking about Perisic. So that means the
Center
resources are limited. There's not a lot of money to be
Listen,
able to go after the
listen,
fullback that we need.
Listen, Pete, I want to reconnect it to what we were discussing before. The difference between Allegri and Kivu is that Allegri, to the contrary of what he used to do or what he was doing before with the Juventus, Allegri is rotating a lot of players. Allegri, right now, that's what surprised me. He sits down 6 or 7 players, and you see a brand new team almost taking the next game.
But that's now, because they're playing every 3 days.
Wait a moment.
When it comes back to the regular schedule, he's not going to rotate. You're playing once a week. I think you're out of Coppa Italia, no?
Yes. No,
You're playing just for
you're out of Coppa
you're
He knew
playing
that.
just for
He knew that, by the way. He knew
you're playing
that.
just for the
Listen.
campionato.
He's playing for
Listen.
attendance.
So
at this
you
point.
literally have 6 days every week.
We're starting to build some minutaggi in Italiano
Yes.
into Jassari's
But I will
leg.
also say,
Yes.
check the schedule.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be an interesting.
It's going to be
month.
rough for us. We have a rough schedule coming
Actually,
up.
the next week is really important because Milan have to play Roma. Napoli have to play Juventus, and you play Pisa. So already, if these teams, even ties in those games, would be big results for Inter. Inter has a very important game against Arsenal. Against Arsenal,
Yeah.
you have to get points.
You need.
You have
I'll
to get
take the tie with Roma.
Mil-
I will take the
Milan's
tie.
next games are Roma,
No.
Bologna, Como, Pisa.
Okay. So
I
those-
can't
the three,
wait for the
three.
Como game again. I can't wait.
That's
I was
gonna be-
actually
You
guys
want to
know
see
I love
Como
Fabregas.
winning in San Siro?
No. I love Fabregas, but I didn't like what he said after the game.
Right.
I didn't like what he said at
It
all.
was very disrespectful of
There's gonna be a lot of
Allegri.
spectators on that game.
Fabregas after the Como
If he
after
plays
the
another
match
time,
against Milan where they lost 3-1 said, if we play this game 8 times out of 10, Como wins the game. We had 700 passes to their 200. Their individuals won the game. I'm sorry. I get the idea. I get what he's trying to say. But number one, coming from a coach after you lose a game, I hate it. That's number one. Number two, I could have told you exactly what was going to happen in that game before it happened.
Milan will do it again.
Exactly. So, by the way, that adds more pressure on your team because you have to win this game. If 8 times out of 10 you would win, you better win this game. Milan was just smart because they know Como I love Como, but there's a reason why they don't beat any team in the top 6. There is a reason why. That's not to say that Como's a bad team. They just came from Serie B 2 years ago. But when you play against the top 6, they make mistakes. They pass the ball in the back. Of course, Milan's not going to overexpose themselves. Why would Milan go run and hurt themselves? They know that the moment is going to come because I've watched Como play a million times in these games, and they hurt themselves. So I didn't like the words of Fabregas. But
also Milan.
it's a great game coming up.
The way Como play, they play with everybody, which is good and bad because sometimes against a bigger team, you gotta be a little bit more conservative.
I agree.
Stay back a little bit. But I also like that Fabregas doesn't care who he plays too. So I see both sides to it. But then again, you also gotta win too. That's the most
But after
important.
a game, Mike, after a
Yeah.
game when you
I
lose
know,
like
I
that,
get it. But to be fair,
They ran out of
I would be
gas.
bitter too if you played that well. And Milan capitalized on the chance.
but you don't beat any top 6 team.
I
If
get
you
it.
always,
I
if
get
it
it.
was actually
I
like,
see both sides.
if it was
I
actually
see both
luck,
sides.
we would have seen Como get
But
results
they
against
almost lost
Inter.
with
Against,
Bologna. They almost lost with Bologna the week before. They won that time in 94 minutes.
but forget about
whatever.
Bologna.
What's
Even the
wrong
bigger
with Bologna,
teams.
though? But Bologna
No,
is
I'm saying
Bologna's
even
not-
the bigger teams.
Listen.
Why don't they win those games?
Here's the deal. Fabregas is a great coach. He's still learning. He's
He's
trained.
green.
But when it comes down to like what Marco said, just go out and just spewing those kind of if we play another 8 times, we're gonna 8 out of 10 times we're gonna win this match here. First of all, like you said, you're building a lot more pressure on yourself and on your team to prove yourself right, not wrong, because they said, hey, I open my mouth, we're gonna go over there and we're gonna win. Second, with Allegri, you cannot really take anything for granted. Me, I actually had a bet with your father that said Como was going to lose the game.
A lot of bets.
But I was more at the edge of my chair, on my seat, when I was watching Lecce with AC Milan 1-0. I was at the edge. I said, oh my God, I just don't want to lose this game. I don't even want them to tie. And I was more relaxed watching Milan playing Como. I swear.
So that is exactly my point. If you've watched Como play and if you watch Milan play, the way Milan struggle is when Milan have to have possession of the ball. So that's why I wasn't nervous in the Como game. When it was 1-1, I actually said Milan played terrible the first half. If any team was going to go out and win, it was going to be Milan. Because it's just watching the games and seeing who Milan beat and who Milan struggled to. So I agree with Mike. I love that you have philosophy. I love that you have a style of play. But there are certain times when you're playing in these tougher games that until you have that level of quality that's above, until you have the killer that's going to score you the goals, because they create a lot of chances. It could have been 3-0, 4-0. But it wasn't. That's the point. You can also just adapt a little bit in moments. That's not to say that you stray away from your philosophy. You just change to try to get a result in those games.
You know what this is screaming? Atalanta PSG Champions League on the back of my mind.
No. Oh, yeah?
For me,
The
yeah.
past.
In the past, when
the
they
past.
lost to PSG, when instead they're going for another goal and they sent too many players out front and then they got killed. And I was like, oh, my God. You live and die with that philosophy. Some culture like that, it's good and bad, like I said.
Italiano doesn't.
I know Como would love to get into Champions League, but the reason why they're able to play this way is because there's no pressure. As long as they get to the upper half of the table, it's considered a good year for them. And I mean, even in terms of what they're doing in terms of player value, I mean, Nico Paz, that's going to be a serious issue for them to figure out what they're going to do. But everyone is just getting an increase in value for player transfers and player movement. So they're building something solid. I agree. You don't need to come out and say that. I think it's more so frustration because guess what? If Milan didn't have Magnan, we're talking about a different game.
That's true.
It's the reality. Or even maybe the Milan penalty, which was a penalty. But if they don't score and it's 1-0 Como at halftime, maybe Fabregas can change something.
Maybe
but
we chipped in the
sometimes,
middle. Right?
Okay, but now if you come out and say that, you have to win. And I think Allegri is licking his lips at the thought of them. Oh, come do exactly what you did again.
You play to Allegri's hand. Yeah. That's what he wants. He wants everybody to be possession. Have 1,000 passes in front of me because then I'm just gonna go hit Leao and be able to score on a counterattack.
And he's waiting for the post-match comment.
I'm really looking forward to that game against Milan.
So is Allegri.
Yeah. Anyway, let's continue. Let's talk about Juventus. They lose to Cagliari. Talking about the competitiveness. Talk about also. By the way, Luciano Spalletti said the opposite of Fabregas. If you heard his press conference, because Cagliari did nothing. They did nothing. They did not even try to go up. I don't fault them at all. They had one set piece. Mazzitelli scored a goal that I don't even think if you gave him 10 times, he would do it again once. They scored one goal. They frustrated Juventus because Juventus do get frustrated when you play a low block against them, when you're physical with them. David hated it. David hated every minute of that game because they don't have that character. Yeah, Juventus. Oh, you could say they're unlucky in that game. Spalletti after the match said, Cagliari deserved it. They had one chance. They were more hungry than us. They scored the goal. They stopped us from scoring. They deserved it. That's what he said. Those were his words after the match. And I think we kept saying, let's wait. Let's see the sample size that Spalletti will have for Juventus to say wherever is their ceiling. They're growing, but you're going to have these matches. Cagliari is a tough team. Cagliari could cause difficulty to anybody. And it's this next stretch until March. The game against Juventus. My God. The game against Napoli. Napoli-Juventus is going to be fireworks. Absolute fireworks.
Napoli?
It is
Torino.
No, Juventus-Napoli, I think.
It's Torino.
It's
Torino.
Torino.
Juventus-Napoli.
Spalletti with the tattoo of Napoli on
Wow.
him. Conte, the connections to his
Maybe
team.
can put another one on.
He's
the
going to
other
have a long
half.
sleeve. Anto long sleeve.
But
Can we do an AI with
We'll do
Spalletti
AI
with long
changing
sleeve?
to the Juventus.
That's a good idea.
Yo,
We could
make
do
an
that.
AI with the Juventus on one side and the Napoli on the other side.
And then
And
body in the middle.
That's a good idea. But yeah, for Juventus, I think we just saw he switched formations. He tried to put his touch on it. Maybe it was a little bit too soon. But then also the center forward issue of Juventus. My God. It's like, it's embarrassing to watch them. And now they might go after Mateta or Eneseri. It feels like that's another one where you're going to throw 30 million, 40 million. You're still not going to have your guy. You're still going to have a center forward that you don't really like, but you're just trying to get somebody right now. Like, it's not really thought out. It's another Band-Aid issue.
And listen, and God forbid something goes wrong for Juventus and Napoli wins. You have Como right there behind you. It might just overtake you. And we are talking about, before we were saying that the pressure is not on Fabregas. Yes, it is on Fabregas. Because this team here has spent over almost 100 million euros in nella campagna on this, before the campionato. Yeah, they spend a lot of money.
They did, but...
Yeah, you do not spend that kind of money and don't put pressure on yourself. If you spend that kind of money, you want to get to at least to the UEFA.
Okay, but it's not Champions
Europa
League.
League.
It's
Europa
not
League.
Champions. It's
Yes.
not Champions League.
Okay, but we're talking about Juventus.
But I think that they're not going to...
I'm talking about Juventus.
we say both. Yeah,
No, Juventus.
Como is just 2 points below
We're
Juventus.
talking about Juventus.
I
So
understand.
I'm talking about Juventus. Juventus. to me, they don't have it.
What do you mean by define it? Are you talking Scudetto or are you talking Champions League? You're talking Champions League. You don't think they'll make Champions League?
No, they might not make a Champions League.
Okay.
And against what I actually said at the beginning before the campionato started, I put them number 3. But the way things are
don't
going
see
right
it.
now, I don't see it.
They're very reliant on the individual quality. And for me, it's a center forward that really just shot. Look at Roma. Look at Roma, for example. They brought in Milan, and I guess we'll talk about them as well. I mean, the guy put in a fantastic performance right away. Gasperini's been begging for a striker, for anybody. It was the first press conference Gasperini's had at Roma where I saw him smile, where he was happy. He said after the game, the club gave me what I wanted. The club gave me what I asked for in the beginning of the season. I requested an attacking player. His connection with Dybala was great. I mean, center forwards make the difference. Pio Esposito showed it. Even Fulkrug with Milan. So, like, Juventus, you're waiting. The other teams are better. The other teams are getting better. They're making their moves early. So, I just feel like this Mateta deal might have panic buy written all over it.
I don't know.
But he's scoring in Premier League, so I mean, he could
He's
add.
very inconsistent.
He probably is, but I think he could add maybe the physicality, the speed that you might need. The thing is, he's not going to be the savior, and I think that's the same thing with Jonathan David. He's not, these type of strikers do not come for free and do not come for 30. Because if he came for, if he was free and he was top, a Premier League would double the money that Juventus
How
would be
much is
paying.
this guy here?
Okay,
Thank you.
So
Bingo.
that's number one. And I'm not even to say that he's a bad player. I'm not here to say it, that he's a bad player, but he's not going to be this number 9
The savior,
for
you
Juventus that you
Yes.
that you have in your head, and that's something that I think a lot of us Serie A fans have to kind of deal with because we do not have the luxury to outspend, another team, Premier League. So when you look at Juventus, I think Spalletti, and I keep on saying that they're in the Scudetto race. I still think they are. I still think they are. Just because there's a lot of games, and I think Inter's gonna slip up. Milan, we don't know what's going to happen. I think they'll
Not
slip
going to
up.
slip up. Sorry.
All these teams
wood.
All these teams are not the teams of the past that won the Scudetto by beating everybody,
Juventus are gonna
steamrolling
slip up
everybody.
too.
They will.
Even more than now.
Yeah, I don't
My
think.
point is they'll definitely be in the Champions League.
Yeah.
They could easily be in a Scudetto race, and Spalletti just needs to kind of settle this team. This game, I can understand where Spalletti's coming from, but it is also a fluke. At the very least, you usually tie that game. You don't lose this game.
Yeah, I
so we
There
cannot.
was no way it went like that. It was crazy.
No,
It was
come
crazy.
on. I mean,
agree.
you do everything. The only thing is the quality of the players makes a difference. And let me tell you, Yildiz, I think he's fantastic. That guy is fantastic. If Juventus actually put money down for a striker, and they did, Vlahovic, this guy's injured. I still think Vlahovic is the best option for this Juventus team right now. I wouldn't even go after Mateta with Vlahovic. The
How
only
much
thing
is
when
this
he coming
Mateta?
back?
Pete, how much is it, this kid here,
It
Mateta?
would be Juventus offered $2 million loan with a $30 million obligation to buy.
not a lot anymore.
But he's 29 years old. I work with some guys from the Premier League, Troy and Nigel. They told me, listen, he's good, but he's very inconsistent. Like, you're going to see he's going to be missing goals, just like Vlahovic, for example, and they also did Openda. Like, there's so many deals that just make you want to go crazy. And this Cup Miners, I can't with him anymore. Cup Miners, I can't. I don't care that you spent the money on him.
He can play defense though.
That's it. That is so sad. Like, he's such a wasted player up top.
He needs to go.
Such a freaking waste.
Where Turkey again? They're talking about Turkey with this guy.
Whoever's gonna pay the most, that's number one.
Yeah.
Whoever pays the most. Usually the Turkish league will be able to come in and take it. You just have to cut your law. You have to cut your loss.
Yeah.
I think
Should've went out Roma with
this Juventus team,
That would've been
you know
sick.
what they had with the next gen. They did an amazing job with revaluating and getting the most money on transfers. But also they let a lot of good players slip or get sold maybe too early just to balance the books. So, I think all the Italian teams need to do a better job of finding the talent within, because oftentimes we think that the player from across the pond or from another place is that much better, and then we mess up on a lot of
I think it's
transfers.
a combination of both. There are two factors to me. I think Juventus had a decent stretch of wins lately. And then all of a sudden they go into they got Cagliari and they got caught up with.
it was
a
bad
fluke.
again.
It's a
Yeah.
fluke.
I
It's a
know, but
fluke.
listen, to me, it's a combination even of the quality that you have and the coach too. Because the coach, with the type of game that you have, maybe change formation, go instead of 3-5-2.
Well, he did. Anto, this is not to me. The worry is not the Cagliari game. The worry is they have to play Benfica, Napoli, Atalanta, Lazio, Inter, Como, Roma.
Oh,
that
my
gets them
God.
that gets them to March. That is the stretch. That is the definition of what it is. Okay, it's
Well,
great
you have
that
the players
it's
to
great
do it.
that he
Just
was
striker
play,
you
that
don't
they were
have.
winning the games. Yes, everything improved. We agree. That is the test. Can you beat those teams? And next week against Napoli, it's an interesting opportunity for them because of Napoli's situation. Napoli have their most crucial week of football. Their entire season could be decided in these next 3 matches. Copenhagen, which is you have to get points. Have to. Must win. I agree. Then you play against Juventus, where if you would lose to Juventus, forget about it. It would be, you got to win that game. Usually Napoli are better in those matches, and then you have to play Chelsea. I think it's a disgrace if Napoli don't go through to the next round of Champions League. There's no Napoli fan in the world that will say, we need to go far in the Champions League. You have to make the top 24. That is, period, end of story. I don't want to hear anything about it. I don't care how many players you're missing. You have to make the top 24 of Champions League. With the format that it is, you have to. That's number one. Number two, the injury situation from Napoli is ridiculous. Conte says, go ask the doctors, interview them. It's not me. My teams have never had these amount of injuries.
It's true. His team never has all these injuries.
No, man.
Let me
It's
read.
just,
Let me-
always the
it's
best
just
fitness.
starting to sour grapes after the fact.
Let
I
me
don't
read
know,
you-
man. That's
Let me read you
Everybody's got
the
injuries right now.
Not like that,
injuries
not like that,
that are
though.
expected to be back. So Lukaku is expected to be called up for Copenhagen. How much time does he have? It's difficult. Anguissa trying to make the game against Juventus. Gilmore and Meret early February. Rachmani is a big loss. He's not going to be there. Mid-February. Politano, end of February. De Bruyne, March. And Neres, they say, is doubtful for the Chelsea game. And by the way, my problem with them, okay, the injuries, I can't speak to it. We're not there. I have no idea. But they don't rotate enough. I feel like even a guy like Bukama was not used to his ability.
Classic Conte.
Luka, they wasted, right? So you couldn't even put in somebody else. But there's so many games. Neres, why do you put Neres in against Parma? I could see that coming from
it was-
10 miles away.
Oh, my
Why are you going to
God.
put him in? Why are you going to rush him back? You got important games coming up. So for me, it's that. It's that management of the minutes that I could speak to more than the training
But Marco,
methods.
this is
that's
the
bad.
pressure that Conte has. Conte has the pressure. Conte has to be in striking distance of AC Milan and Inter Milan. So even though you want to fault him from putting Neres inside, he had no other choice. He had to put in. The guy, they wanted to win the game. So when they won they won the game that they needed to win. But now look at all the injuries that they came up with. So it's bad news and good news at the same time. To me, if they get 2 or 3 guys back from from the hospital, we call it, or the infermeria, then
Yeah, but you're gonna rush these guys. Now you're gonna rush these guys back. You're gonna have the same problem. What's Lukaku's fitness? Now,
Yeah,
all
he hasn't played
the new
forever.
the new signings, the only one that's worked is Vanya Milinkovic-Savic. I think Bukama has been good, and Hoyland has been good. But
Excellent.
Luka, you wasted money. Luka, you threw money away. Now you're trying to get Nottingham Forest to buy him. Noah Lang, same thing. And my friends in Holland, when they found out that Napoli was getting Lang, they said, this guy's not a Napoli player. He doesn't have the attitude, the personality to play for Napoli. This is another thing. The midfield, they haven't reinvested in the midfield. 8 games in a row, McTominay and Lobotka played together. For Conte's style, the energy, the intensity, every game is a war. It's too hard to play like that. They don't play based on, a real style. He's putting Vergara in for the first time as a player. So it's a crucial period. Usually in their toughest moments is when you do get the best Napoli. But even for Conte, even for Napoli, I think this is a really risky moment.
I'm more interested how this Champions League run is going to be for Conte. Because frankly, I don't think he cares too much about it. But I want to see how the players react against Copenhagen. Against Juventus, I think he's gonna give it his all.
Really?
Classic.
Without Politano, Rachmani, Neres.
No. I mean, in terms of the intent of the team and what Conte instills in the team, it's more of the Champions League that's a question for me. It's always been a question mark for Conte, and I wonder if this is gonna change because of the injury crisis. And just on top of it, his priorities of the Scudetto, and then I think he put the Scudetto over everything for me. So I think he's just gonna hold on as much as he can, and everything else is second for
Mike
Conte.
Peter said before there is a lot of money involved with the
It
Champions.
doesn't matter, but Conte always
So,
treated this the same way.
But when you put in Copenhagen with the next to Napoli, should be a
it
no-brainer.
should.
Even
It
with the
should.
second team, Napoli should be able to win this game.
They should,
here.
but we also talk
Copenhagen
about
away, by the way, is a difficult. I've been there. Those guys at home, they had a crazy
And it's
record
freezing.
when I was there
They're
2 years
physical,
ago.
right?
The only teams that went there and won were Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. That was at the time. This was like 2 years ago.
It's very cold over there, Denmark. Very cold.
Are they playing away or they playing
Away.
Away,
That's what I'm
away,
saying. It's
yeah.
away.
No, it's not an easy game. Anytime you play away in the Champions League, it's not an easy game. The thing is, Conte, he'll have his excuses if they don't make Champions League.
Of course.
The injuries, this, that. But as Marco said, you have to, in this format, you have to go through to the next round. Then you could lose the next round, who cares? But you have to be able to get to
It's a
the
very
next round.
forgiving format.
And, with Juventus, it's going to be a game where I think Conte, I know he wants to win it, but he'll be happy with a 0-0 draw. He's not going to, it's points away from Torino. So
You think so?
Yeah.
You think it's okay? A 0? You think
Yeah.
a tie?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Listen, AC Milan.
Man, that gap is getting big with Inter.
But
Yeah.
That gap
you're
is
not
big.
gonna win, you're not gonna close that gap versus Juventus.
I'm
You're
starting to
gonna
not
close it
believe
versus
that they're going to
something
win the
else.
Scudetto. I always say, I mean, until a week or two ago, I thought they would. But there's so many things against them this year.
I
There's
thought
too
the
many
same thing
things.
last year, to be fair. I didn't think Napoli. Then I was like, wow, they did it. And
When
I
they
was
lost Kvara in
like,
January.
so I was like, okay, I'm not putting anything past Napoli. They're gonna.
We're
be
gonna
there
see
till
after
the
March.
last
March,
game.
there's a lot of games after March. You'll see what
It's true.
Bro, if there's 7 points
happens.
from March, though.
This year's a weird year.
It's a very weird year.
Listen, but it's a very weird year. But we have seen what at any time you can lose against a small team. Cagliari is going to give you a difficult
Exactly.
time. Verona is going to give you a difficult time.
Not
Lecce
for
is going to
Inter.
give you. I know, not for Inter. But I'm saying we're talking about.
Oh, we gotta
Napoli.
play them again.
So at
Yeah,
any
but you
given
guys
day,
approach those games
you
the right
have to
way.
put up a fight. You know what a fight means? It means a lot lactic acid. What do you call it? Lactic acid on your legs? That's very bad. When you put the minutes on
Need some
those
creatine.
legs, you're putting a lot of those minutes. This is the reasons why Napoli they found themselves with a lot of people on on the emergency room.
Those are just not smart. I mean, I'm sorry, but they're just not smart. The amount of time they put Luka in the last 5 minutes, and I know Luka's not good, but they put him in the last 5 minutes, and they don't even play to his strengths. Like, they don't even just
Cross the
I watch
ball.
Inter when they need a goal, they cross in a million balls. They cross because
That's all we
There
do.
could be a hand. I know sometimes it's bad. There could be a handball. The guy's 8 foot tall. Then the time that he does get the ball, he tries to do rovesciata. He tries to do a bicycle kick. Come on.
Marco, what do you want from
That's
Luka?
naive. That's naive.
What do you want from Luka? Luka found himself on a between a rock and a hard place. It's not probably the perfect fit for him, Napoli, because of the style of play that they have, or maybe it's not made to play on a stage like that. So it's the first time that it's in Napoli.
How many
where
goals
they
did he
demand.
score last year?
I know. Well, he need to.
10,
How many?
11?
That's
I
not
think it was
enough
10
to
or
be a
11.
Napoli
I'll check.
striker.
Yeah, and Conte
It's not
wanted him.
enough to be a Napoli
Conte
striker.
wanted him. He was Conte's
But
guy.
you're also not playing to
I'm
his strengths
sorry.
either, though,
35
Peter.
million.
Oh my God,
35
that's a
million
lot
is
of money.
crazy.
That is a lot of money.
Udinese, he was starting every game with Udinese.
No, I'm saying at Napoli.
I
You're not
understand,
playing
but
to
what
his
I'm trying to
strengths.
say is
He had 12 goals.
you had
Excuse
12
me.
goals.
in 33 games.
That's not too
And one
little.
assist.
That's
It's not a
little.
little.
But you
It's
think
not
he
a
had a lot
little.
more goals than
Service at Napoli,
Leao.
no?
He had a lot more goals than
He's not
Leao.
getting
He's a
more
number
service.
9. Leao's not a
Hello.
9.
But he's
Number
not getting
9.
more service at
But
Napoli.
what do you
even
think
compare the
Napoli
two.
got Luka?
I think he's
because
got
of the
to
header,
score.
because he can score with the head, because
So why is he
he's
why is he do a
overpowering.
friggin' bicycle kick the
I
one time he
don't
gets the
know.
ball?
Maybe Milan buys him for 30.
No. We
can't
have
even hold the ball up.
We have full crook right now. I'm sorry.
Grundig.
Full crook.
Does he whistle?
Full crook.
Oh man. What else
We
do we have
love
to
it.
talk about?
We
I
love
mean,
it.
we mentioned Roma, but man, it was fun to watch. I finally felt like a Gasperini team. Milan, what a debut he put in the first half. For him and Dybala understood each other. That was big, and that's exactly what we wanted. Robinho Vaz, 18-year-old. We still don't know yet. Let's see what Roma can do next week.
And
It's
also,
a big game against
a
Milan.
milestone for Dybala. Since the past 20 Serie A seasons, Dybala is the first non-Italian to be involved in at least 200 goals.
Nice.
And this is injury-prone Dybala. Imagine if he didn't have so many injuries, how many goals he'd have, goal involvements he'd have.
Did we miss any topics, boys?
I would
We
say
hit everything.
the next game will be crucial for Gasperini to make a statement to get into the Champions League. If they don't win against AC Milan, even with this new guy over here, I think AC Milan is going to watch the tape. And I mean, this guy here is very, very, very fast. I enjoy watching
very
him.
fast.
It's lightning speed fast. But if you put somebody, if you give him this much space, he's going to take it. You have to be on top
I'm not
of
worried
this
about
guy.
Milan against Roma.
You're not?
No,
What do you mean you're not? What I am.
I'm not. Milan in the bigger game. Roma don't win the big games, and Milan in the big games always show
But
up.
now they have Milan. It's gonna be
And we got full
interesting.
crook, my friend.
That's right.
Wait, where
With
did
a broken
Fulcrum go?
Excuse me?
Where's Fulcrook?
Full crook.
Yeah.
It's German.
No, I said, where is he? You mentioned it a million times.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Fulcrook, by the way.
Where is he? Hey,
Where'd you find him?
where we find them? We found them on the transfer market. And I'll tell you what, the guy's been so unlucky that he wants to make back the money that they stole from him on his apartment. So he wants to get some extra premium
All the
money.
bonus.
Did
all
you
the
see?
bonus.
Did you see they found the guy who it was?
They
He was-
did?
He was a Perez.
That's an AI. That's AI.
Producer says Atalanta. I don't really have anything new to say about Atalanta.
Raspadori.
Yeah,
But he didn't do
Raspadori.
much. But
No, Lookman's coming
be
back.
interesting coming back. Lookman.
It's good.
I need him for the
Kusuno.
fun.
They
calcio.
conceded a line
Guys,
against them.
can we talk about the AFCON for a second? I know
Oh
we're
my
Italian football.
God.
That was one of the craziest things I've ever witnessed.
I didn't watch one game.
I'll give you.
You
I'll give you
missed
two.
out.
I'll give you very quick recap of what happened. Senegal played against Morocco. Morocco's been the home nation. There's been a lot of talks that Morocco were being helped by the referees. Senegal scores a goal. It was a very light call. The referee doesn't go to the monitor to check, takes away the goal from Senegal. So, of course, Senegal's upset. They're playing really well. Last kick of the match. Genuinely last second, 94. Brahim Diaz, little pull. Stupid of the defender. Pulls
Penal.
him. Brahim goes down. He gives a penal. He gives a penalty
That was
kick.
crazy.
Senegal leaves the pitch. It was 18 minutes, I believe, from the
Fans
time that it was
fighting.
cold.
Fans.
Fans going crazy. They, because they were upset about all the calls for Morocco. Brahim Diaz, your boy, former Milan player, steps up to the spot, tries the
Cucchiaio.
Cucchiaio, the Panenka, saved from Mendy. They go into extra time. Senegal wins it. And then, of course, Morocco also feel upset. The coach of Senegal goes into his press conference. All the Moroccan journalists stand up and walk out the same way Senegal walked off the pitch. I just can't believe that the game was allowed to be played. I wanted Senegal because I think Senegal played a really good match. I think Senegal deserved it. They deserved the game, like for how the football went. But it's also something wrong that you could go 18 minutes with not taking the penalty.
I can't believe they took away that goal, and I can't believe they gave that penalty. That's why I'm a bigger shot. First of all, they shouldn't have taken away that goal. That was way too soft. And that Brahim is just a little guy. There's no way that was enough for a penalty.
I don't blame Brahim for the Cucchiaio. Do you guys blame him for the
No,
Cucchiaio?
that's something different. I
It's
don't
No,
not-
but everybody's saying
Brahim
that.
is not Cassano. I mean, it might have all
You have to
the
have
talent that he might have,
cojones.
but Brahim is not Cassano.
You know what's kind of sad? Before the kick, I said to myself, if Brahim is smart, I swear to God, I said he's going to do the Panenka because I said, how can Mendy stay in the middle? I said, of course the goalkeeper is going to have to go.
As a
So
goalkeeper,
I thought it was genius.
As a goalkeeper,
The
I would never stay
guy-
in the middle. I would
So many
never.
stupid
It
people
also
on the-
wasn't a good Panenka, but
It wasn't a good one. So many stupid
But if
people
he,
on the
if he
internet, by
dove,
the
it would
way.
have been a goal though.
You know, on the internet, they
No?
thought he missed it on
Dove the
purpose
wrong way.
for fair play.
Oh.
People actually
Oh, yeah, that
thought
was
that.
ridiculous.
Well, wait.
Tancredi still thinks it.
One thing.
No. Oh,
Hey,
come on.
one thing I want to understand is this.
Come on. That's,
How
that's the
can-
craziest thing I've ever heard.
He said that there's no celebrate. If you look at the defenders of Senegal,
They
no
weren't
one
celebrating.
celebrates.
Because they didn't win the game
the
yet.
save.
But listen, how can you leave the field
You can't leave it.
physically and then the game?
Physically.
I would forfeit the
Not,
game.
so not every.
I
So
would
Spiritually.
forfeit the game. I said you left the field. That means you gave up. Here you go. Those are
they
the
were in
winners.
Anto,
want
they
a
were in
water
the
break.
locker room. The captain didn't leave. So I read some. I don't know if this is actually the rule, but I did read if the captain doesn't go, which this should not be the rule. If the captain stays, he's the one who would decide. Him or a director would decide if they forfeit or not. Mane ends up calling his players back to play the game, and they don't. For me, this just sets an insane precedent.
Horrible.
Because if I don't blame. Now, if Italy would have this moment, I would say everybody get into the locker
Oh,
room,
yeah, of
waste
course.
18 minutes, make
wa-
it as
it worked
difficult
there.
as it could be.
Ice the kicker, as they say.
It's too much. This would create a crazy precedent.
That was insane.
Crazy
I
precedent.
think it's kind of
That's not right.
embarrassing too.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
not
you
right.
don't do things like that. It's just
You can't
It's the
walk off.
final.
playing the game.
It's the final.
You can't walk off.
Oh,
You can't walk off.
brother.
No, but
It was like the
I
Santa
blame
Rosalia
the
tournament.
referee. I missed it. I blame the
Oh,
referee.
don't say
referee-
that, Pete.
the
At
ref-
Santa Rosalia, we don't
the-
do
As a
that.
the
referee,
referee-
you have
We
to
don't
take
do that,
charge of
Pete.
these. You have to take charge, and he didn't take
The
charge.
referee, I agree with you,
and
Mike.
also the calls too. The calls were horrible.
You
I
have
think
to
the
take it
referee was
back.
very
The
bad.
referee looked
gotta take it
terrified.
back.
If he was
How
like that
does-
Zeta, he'd get a below 5, like Anto was saying last week.
That's
the,
right.
The referee, he didn't handle
was
things.
very bad.
I think he was like worried. I don't know what he was doing. But in the end, Senegal won in extra time, and then they almost had another chance to do it. But of course, Brahim Diaz was in tears. He looked
I'll take him back
destroyed.
though if he wants to come back to AC Milan.
Plays for Real Madrid.
It doesn't matter, but I'll take him back because right now
I understand you would take him back.
I am.
Would he want to go back?
Yeah, I want him to come back to AC
You're not
Milan.
listening to the question. Would he want to go back?
Yes.
Why would he
Of
go
course
from
he's gonna
Madrid
come
to
back.
Milan?
Of course, he's gonna come back to redeem himself.
Take penalties too or no?
That's right. We're gonna teach him how to do the cucchiaio.
Against Inter, Brahim comes back.
Yeah.
0-0 to win your 20th Scudetto,
Yeah.
second star. Last minute penalty against Summer. Do you let Brahim Diaz take it?
Yes.
Yeah,
You don't wanna
Yes.
win. You don't wanna
I'll
win.
send him to Cassano. I'll send him to Cassano for a little training one-on-one to how to take the
gonna train
cucchiaio.
Cassano?
Don't worry about it. Cassano is he's a
train
genius on that stuff. Everybody's learning from Cassano. And then you'll see it.
All right,
Then you
guys.
see it.
Thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Ciao,
Ciao,
ragazzi.
guys.